Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today. What a wonderful turnout. There's an old joke. Don't live too long, or there'll be no one left to come to your funeral. Well, we knew that wouldn't be the case when barely a year ago, so many of us attended Nita's 100th. And there she was out there, surrounded by family, friends, admirers, spanning 3 or 4 generations. And you know, if Nita were here in the flesh, instead of as a spirit watching over us right now, the first thing she'd say is, lighten up! We're here to celebrate more than we are to mourn. So let's do that. Let's have a little fun. I'm Charles Caratti, Nita's nephew. Her maiden name was Caratti. So, quick history lesson. Aquilino and Josephine Caratti, Swiss immigrants, settled here in Livermore around 1900. In pretty quick succession, they had 3 children. Anita first, then Albert, my dad, also father to my big sister Linda and my brother Paul, and then a 3rd child, Richie. It was Richie who founded Caratti Jewelers, which is still right there on First Street. So after my dad, Albert, and Mom split up way back in the 50s, Nita took on a big role in helping to raise us kids, even after her own 3 fantastic kids, John, Kathy, Richard, RJ, came along. She spent countless hours with us, so many fantastic memories. One time in the late 50s, Nita took us all into Oakland to see the Bible epic Ben-Hur. She insisted that we should only see something that awesome on the biggest screen possible, and it was a great movie. And then in the 60s, I think Nita might have seen one too many Beatles albums laying around my bedroom and promptly packed us kids all up in the station wagon and drove us all right into a squalid area of San Francisco searching for hippies. Finally, she found a couple of down-on-their-luck love children, pulled the car over and said to us kids, think about it, is this really the way you want your life to turn out? And believe me, I really did think about it many times over the years. But you know what I really thought about was how much she cared to have taken the time to do that. Oh yeah, and there was that time in the 70s when she bailed me out of jail for walking on the roof of the new police station at 2 a.m. It was under construction at the time. She showed up at the trial, barged right up to the judge, pointed a finger at him and said, Your Honor, who do you think you are, locking boys up just for being boys? Case dismissed. Now, I know this is going to come as a huge surprise to many of you, but Nita could occasionally be opinionated. You know, in the 70s, when I started dating, Nita always insisted on that I bring every new girl around to the Rock House Deli, which she owned and operated at that time. Invariably, Nita would look over each girl and say, now tell me you can't hear her saying this. You know, you're really very pretty, but why are you slouching? Why do women slouch? It's bad for their health. They don't get enough oxygen. Be proud of your sex. Sorry, Father. Stick out your bosoms. Stick them right out there. So anyway, I lost a lot of girlfriends. But one side note, I finally found a great one more than 40 years ago. Marcy, right there with our kids Samantha and Alex. And she passed every one of Nita's tests with flying color, including not slouching. As youngsters, the trick for all of us was to get out of there before she really kicked into high gear. So when I would tell her I had to hurry across the street to say the rosary with Grandma. But later when I would really think about what she was telling me, I realized she was usually right. We moved down to San Diego years ago, but I kept in touch with Nita constantly, often talking on the phone every week, sometimes for hours. After catching up on family stuff, we'd move on to the state of the world, which was very important to her, and what needed to be done to fix it. She watched a lot of news, often knowing things I hadn't heard yet. And I'm a journalist by profession. But the best part of every conversation was when we got to revisiting the old days and the old ways. As she spoke, I would go on a wondrous, dreamlike journey, revisiting those simpler times in America, almost a different realm. One which seemed to operate by different rules than much of the way we do so many things today. Better. For that reason, besides just missing her, one of the hardest things to lose about Nita for many of us was that she was our last living tether, a gossamer thread to that different time. Going forward, I know I'll never find that again. For all of us here, as we all do our best to continue on without her, a helpful tip: when times get tough, just try to imagine you can hear Nita urging you in the right direction. Don't slouch, and stick 'em right out there. Would you all join me in celebrating a life well lived? A woman who touched all of us personally, and many of us immeasurably. Thank you. Sorry, Father.